No movement, only pressure slow. Pads are stretched into the silence, where your presence used to go. Air is dancing, barely shifting, like it's frozen in between. Every corner keeps the outline of something once was seen. No rhythm, only low vibration, hanging under what is heard. Space becomes the main direction, without needing any words. Everything's slightly heavier, in a way that doesn't show, but I feel it underneath me, even when I move too slow. You are not a fading image, you are weight inside the air. Every second keeps you present, even when you're not there. I don't reach for explanation, it will break the way it stays. Even silence has a structure that refuses to decay. I stay low inside the echo that you left without a sound. Every breath is pulling deeper than the space that's all around. And your voice is almost nothing, still it settles in my skin. I don't call you into absence, I just let you stay within. Faces moving like a shadow, slow and heavy through the floor. Nothing changes but it deepens, like it's always been before. Pads are folding into silence, without ever breaking line. And I'm sitting in the pressure of a moment out of time. I don't need a clear reflection to remember how you were. Even absence has a texture that will never disappear. If the night removes your outline, I will still be holding on to the way you stayed, like gravity, long after you are gone. Low end fades into the distance. Silence takes what's left behind, and I stay inside the pressure of a memory confined. face is already speaking. I don't need to be loud. Everything I say is lower than the shape of any sound. I come in without a surface, just a weight inside the tone. Every word is barely moving, like it's carved out of bone. Road sits behind the silence, barely touching what is real. I don't rise above the moment, I just let it make me feel. No attempt to be lighter, everything is pulled below. Even quiet has direction that I always seem to know. I stay deep inside the baseline, when my voice begins to sink. Every breath is slow and heavy, at the edge of what you think. And I speak in low reflection, like I'm part of what you hear. Nothing ever comes up higher, everything stays near. You respond in low emotion, like you hear me underneath. Every silence gets connected to the weight inside my speech. Pad is fading into distance, roads is barely holding shape. Everything is slightly darker, but it never escapes. It is not about the volume, it is where I always stay. Even absence has a structure that won't drift away. I exist inside the baseline, slow and heavy, never gone. Every word becomes a pressure that the low end drags along. My voice is just a layer in the frequency below. Nothing breaks, it only deepens where I choose to go. If the night removes the outline, I will stay inside the tone. Let the bass and all the silence make it known. Still low, still here, still closer than it appears. Bass and breath and nothing clear. Nothing rushes in the beginning, even time is barely there. Bass is buried underneath it, like a feeling in the air. Drums are soft and almost distant, just a shadow of a beat. Guitar moves in quiet fragments, barely touching what we need. really here. It is sitting in the spaces that are always very near. Everything is slightly leaning without ever falling down. Like the room is gently breathing with no need to make a sound. You are close but never stated, like a weight I understand. I don't turn to face the moment, it just happens where I stand. Nothing tries to take attention, it just moves without a sign. Even stillness has a pattern that is slowly forming lines. We stay deep inside the feeling where the rhythm doesn't show. Every motion is a whisper that I only seem to know. And your voice is low and steady, like it's carved into the dark. I don't need it to be louder, it is already in my heart. Bass is almost underneath now. Drums are barely holding time. Guitar traces soft intentions without ever crossing lines. Space becomes the real structure, holding everything in place. Even silence starts to groove here in a slower, heavier pace. You don't move but I can feel you, like a current without sound. Everything is slightly closer, even when you're not around. If the night keeps pulling inward, we don't fight it, we just stay. Let the hidden rhythm carry what we never say away. Groove dissolves into the distance, nothing tries to stay in form. Only feeling keeps on moving after everything is gone. Not in rhythm or in weight, guitar moves like hesitation, drawing lines that never fade. Air is thick with fading voices, glass reflections on the wood. Everything is slightly leaning in a way that feels too good. No percussion, only motion in the low end and the air. Guitar answers very softly, like it knows that you are there. Space becomes the main direction, not the beat or anything. Even silence has a texture that is quietly listening. You sit down like it is nothing, but the room already shifts. I don't speak, I only notice how the balance starts to drift. There is nothing to explain here, it just happens in the frame. Even stillness starts to follow, something that we never name. We move slow without a rhythm, but it never feels still. Every second pulls us deeper without breaking what it will. And your voice is low and steady, like it's resting in the dark. I don't need it to be louder, it already leaves a mark. Bass is drawing out the evening, guitar circles back again. Empty spaces doing something that we never can defend. Everything is slightly closer, even without any sound. Like the room is gently folding what we thought was solid ground. You don't try to change the feeling, you just let it stay as is. I can feel it getting heavier in the quiet way it lives. If the night begins to vanish, we don't follow, we just stay. Let the absence be the movement that will carry us away. Keeps fading into nothing. Guitar slowly disappears, and the bar is still breathing softly, even when no one is here. Bass is here, I don't resist it. Roads is fading into air. Every sound is kept so close now, like it's always been there. I step in with no disruption, just a shadow in the tone. Even silence feels connected to the place I call my home. Pad is breathing very softly, click a rhythm far and thin. Everything is slightly lower than the space I'm standing in. Nothing breaks the low connection, everything is settled down. Even air has got a structure that is moving all around. I stay deep inside the baseline, where the warm tones start to bend. Every breath is slow and weighted, like it never wants to end. And my voice is close and lowered, like it's part of what you hear. Nothing ever gets too distant. in the places sound can go. Roads keeps on gently falling, bass is steady, never gone. Even time begins to loosen when the low end carries on. It is not about the volume, it is how it stays in me. Every layer of the moment is a slow frequency. I exist inside the baseline, soft and heavy, never loud. Every word becomes a texture that is floating through the sound, and my voice stays in the rhythm, like it knows where it belongs. Nothing leaves this low direction, it just moves us all along. If the night becomes more quiet, I will stay inside the tone. Let the bass in soft reflection make it whole. Still here, still low, still letting it all go. Roads and breathe, and bass below.
Low and talking in my body, I don't need anything above. Every breath is underneath it, every thought is built on thud. You come in, I feel the bottom shift a little in the room. Everything you do is lowered, even silence has a tune. My voice stays in the same place, right where bass is taking hold. Every word is just a shadow on a line that's always low. Nothing sits above the feeling, everything is down below. Even time is moving slower, where the sub-frequencies go. We exist inside the baseline, no escape and no release. Every step is synchronization with the weight beneath the piece. And my voice becomes the waveform that is locked into the floor. Nothing ever rises higher than the sound we're moving for. You don't break the low dimension, you just settle into it. Every moment gets absorbed in something heavy, something fit. Bass is never done evolving, it just shifts its shape and stays. Even when you try to leave it, it keeps pulling every phase. There is no upper layer, only deeper underneath. Everything is built around it, even silence, even breathe, 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 breathe. We are living in the baseline, like it owns the way we feel. Every motion is controlled by something low and very real. And my voice is just a function of the pressure in the sound. Nothing leaves the low frequency, it keeps going all around.
and it keeps us bound. I don't rise, I go lower. Bass is speaking before me. Even breath has weight in here. Nothing tries to be free. I arrive without a surface, just a presence in the low. Every word is barely forming where the deeper currents go. Roads fade into the background like a memory in sound. I don't stand above the moment, I just let it pull me down. No need for any brightness, I was never meant to shine. Even silence feels like texture when it stays inside my spine. I live under the baseline, where the sound is barely made. Every breath is slow and buried in the tone that never fades. And my voice is almost missing, but it's holding what you feel. Nothing ever comes up higher, everything is deep and real. You respond in lower thinking, like you hear me without sound. Every feeling gets compressed here, where the quiet gets profound. Pad is drifting without motion, rose barely touches air. Everything is slightly darker, but I know I'm already there. It is not about expression, it is how I disappear. Even absence has a rhythm that keeps pulling me near. I remain inside the baseline, soft as the way you ever knew. Every word is almost nothing, but it still gets into you. Nothing rises, nothing breaks it, everything just breathes. If the night removes my outline, I will stay inside the tone. Let the bass and fading textures make a home. Lower, still lower, no sound to get over. Just bass, just breathe, and nothing left except depth, depth, depth. I say is lower than the silence on its own. I come in and I don't break it, I just blend into the low. Every word I let it linger where the deeper currents go. You don't hear me in the surface, you feel me underneath, like a slow and steady pressure that you cannot fully leave. No need to make it brighter, I don't reach for anything. Even silence bends around me when I let the low end sing. I stay deep inside the baseline, like it's pulling me below. Every breath is slow and heavy, and the way I let it go, and my voice is barely rising, it just melts into the sound. Nothing ever pulls me upward, everything is coming down. You respond without a surface, like you know this kind of tone. Every feeling gets collected in a place I call my own. Bass is moving through my body like it knows me very well. Even distance starts to soften when I let the low end swell. It is not about the volume, it is what is underneath. Everything becomes a texture that I wear so casually. I exist inside the baseline, slow and heavy, no disguise. Every word is just a shadow in the low between our lives, and my voice stays close and quiet, like it's resting in the dark. Nothing here is ever louder, but it always leaves a mark. If the night begins to deepen, I will stay inside the tone. Let the bass in my voice carry what we don't say on our own. Still low, still here, still close enough to hear. No high, no break, just wait that we both take.
Is moving like a memory, soft and slow against the wall. Guitar traces empty corners where your shadow used to fall. Air is thick with something missing, but it never makes a sound. Everything is still in motion, even when you're not around. No drums, only recollection in the space you used to be. Every note feels like a question that won't answer back to me. Room is breathing out the silence like it knows your name by heart, and the groove is just a feeling of something that fell apart. You were here
keep moving through your echo in a bar that feels too wide. Every glass reflects a moment that I try to keep inside. And your voice is gone but present, like it never really left. I don't call it into silence, I just live with what is left. Bass keeps walking through the darkness. Guitar bends into the past. Empty space becomes the answer that was always built to last. Nothing breaks but everything shifts, like a slow and quiet fall. And I stay here in the feeling of you not here at all. People come and go around me, but they never feel the same. Only you still move inside it without needing any name. If the night forgets your outline, I will still remember you. In the way the room gets heavier when it turns away from truth. Bass dissolves into the silence. Guitar fades without a trace. And I stay inside the moment that still carries your empty space. Purple in the air tonight. Bass is breathing slow and wide. Everything is tinted darker. Like a secret we don't hide. Roads is soft like velvet falling. Touching edges of the dark. I don't move above the feeling. I just let it leave a mark. You arrive like colored silence. Not too bright, not too clear. Every step is slow and heavy, like you've always been here. Shadows wear a purple softness on the walls and in the sound. Even space becomes more tender when your presence comes around. No need for anything louder. Everything is pulled below. Even breath begins to shimmer in a violet undertone. We stay deep inside the purple, where the bass begins to glow.
heavy, slow, and my voice is low and steady, like a shadow made of sound. Nothing ever breaks the color, it just spreads around. You don't speak, you just surround me, like a color in the air. Every silence turns seductive when I feel you everywhere. Roads is melting into feeling, bass is turning into night. Everything becomes emotion, dressed in violet light. It is not about the volume, it is how it pulls me in. Even distance starts to vanish when the tone begins to spin. I exist inside the purple, oh, heavy, slow, and over me. Every breath is painted deeper than it used to be. My voice becomes the color that you feel but cannot hold. Nothing ever leaves the violet, it just grows cold. If the night dissolves the outline, I will stay inside the hue. Let the bass and fading textures carry you. Purple low, still near, nothing sharp, nothing clear. Bass and glow, and you stay here.
Bass moves like slow remembering through a room that lost its name. Guitar breathes against the silence. Nothing here feels quite the same. Air is heavy with the after of a voice that used to stay. Everything is slightly bending in a quiet, fading way. No rhythm, only low vibration in the space between the walls, like the echo of your presence that refuses to dissolve. Even stillness has a pressure that I carry in my chest, and the silence feels like something that will never let me rest. But not entirely. Still you sit inside the air. Every corner holds a version of you standing somewhere there. I don't call your name out loudly, it would break the way it feels. Even absence has a texture that the night slowly reveals. I move slow inside the memory where your outline used to be. Every breath feels slightly heavier, like it knows it shouldn't leave. And your voice is almost nothing but it lingers underneath. I don't chase it into silence, I just let it stay with me. Bass is sinking even lower, guitar barely makes a sound. Empty space becomes the meaning that is always hanging around. Nothing changes but it deepens like a wave without a form. And I stay here in the stillness where your absence feels like storm. I don't need to see your shadow, I can feel it anyway, like a memory that keeps breathing in a slower, deeper way. If the night forgets your echo, I will still be holding on to the way you used to stay here long after you are gone. Bass dissolves into the basement, guitar fades into the floor, and I'm left inside the silence that keeps you here and nothing more. Drums sit deep in the pocket, like smoke above a bottle. Ambient room tone is breathing, glass is faintly touching fade. Everything is moving lazy in the shape the night is made. Bass keeps looping like a habit, drums don't rush to the front, guitar lines are short and patient, letting silence do the grunt. Space is thick but never empty, it is holding what we feel. Groove is sitting in the shadows, like it doesn't need to speak. You don't talk, you just lean closer, like the moment knows your name. I just follow what is moving, without trying to explain. Nothing here is ever certain, but it doesn't feel wrong. Even silence has a rhythm that has been here all along. We move slow inside the bar light, like it's pulling at the floor. Every step is slightly keeps resting in my chest. I don't chase the conversation, I just let it do the rest. Drums drop back into the pocket. Bassline circles once again. Guitar hangs a little longer, like it never wants to end. Room is full of quiet motion, even though it feels still. Everything is slightly swaying without trying to be real. Lights are low but never changing. Time is folded into sound. We are sitting in the distance, where the night is slowing down. If the moment starts to loosen, we don't hold it, we just stay. Let it slip into the groove line and just carry us away. Bass keeps walking through the silence. Drums dissolve into the air. Guitar fades but still is moving, like you're somewhere over there.
Bass in the room, don't leave it. I speak low, you feel it deeper. Nothing high, nothing clean here, just the weight that pulls you nearer. I talk slow like I'm sinking in the bottom of your sound. Every word I let it linger, like it never hits the ground. You don't answer in the surface, you respond inside the low. Everything about this moment moves in places I control. No space for anything lighter, everything is pressed in close. Even silence gets a texture that I keep under my voice. We stay locked in the baseline, like it's holding us in place. Every breath is slow and sticky, on the edge of your face. And my voice is deep and heavy, like it's melting into sound. Nothing ever comes up higher than what's pulling us down. You don't move, you just get closer without moving at all. Every feeling gets embedded in the low end of the hall. Bass is crawling through the tension like it knows us very well. Even distance starts to crumble when I let the low end swell. It's not music, it's a pressure that we both are sitting in. Every moment sticks together like it's under our skin. We are living in the baseline, slow and heavy, no escape. Every word becomes a surface that the low end starts to shake. And my voice is barely rising, it just drags across the floor. Nothing leaves this frequency, it only asks for more.
gets even thicker, I will stay inside the tone. Let the bass in my voice cover what we've never shown. Still close, still holding what it knows. No light, no break, just wait, and we don't wake.
Baseline crawling through the floor, drums are lazy, out of sight. Guitar flickers like a shadow, hanging heavy in the night. Glass reflections on the counter, sound is melting into air. Everything is moving slower, like it doesn't really care. You lean back without a reason, I just watch you take your time. Words are hanging in between us, like they're waiting for a sign. No one's trying to start a story, it just happens in the space. Even silence feels familiar in this half-forgotten place. We move slow like sticky weather in a room that won't let go. Every second tastes like patience that we both already know. And your voice is soft and low here, like it's resting on the air. I don't need to chase the moment, it is already there. Lights are dim but never fading, just enough to see your face. Everything is slightly closer in this warm and quiet place. If the night keeps getting longer, we don't have to understand. We just stay inside the feeling like it's slipping through our hands. Bass is fading into silence, guitar slowly drifts away, and the bar keeps on breathing after everyone's gone away. Bass is moving through the floor now, slow enough to feel it bend. Every sound is pulling closer, like it doesn't wanna end. Roads hang softly in the distance, barely touching empty air. I don't speak above the moment, I just let it settle there. You lean back without a warning, like you know the room too well. Every glance Silence becomes attention. I can feel but never tell. Nothing sharp inside the silence. Everything is smooth and low. Even breathing sounds connected to the undertow below. No one trying to control it. We just let the feeling spread. Every pause becomes a language, hanging softly overhead. We stay deep inside the motion, where the low end pulls us in. Every word becomes a whisper, resting lightly on your skin. And my voice stays calm and heavy, like it's sinking through the dark. Nothing here is asking questions, it just leaves a mark. You don't move but something shifts here, like the air has changed its shape. Every second lasts much longer when we let the silence stay. Bass keeps rolling underneath us, slow and thick against the room. Everything becomes a current, moving somewhere out of view. It is not about the speaking, it is how the distance falls. Even stillness starts reacting when the low frequency holds. We stay deep inside the motion, where the night moves soft and slow. Every breath becomes a pattern, only we are meant to know. And my voice stays close beside you, like it's built into the sound. Nothing ever breaks the tension, it just pulls us down. If the room begins to empty, I will stay inside the tone. Let the bass and fading ropes lines lead us home. Still slow, still near, nothing else to hear. Bass and breath, still here. Still here. Bass never stops talking low. Air is moving soft and slow. A step in the room already knows. Nothing breaks, it only grows. You arrive and it keeps going. No pause in the way we feel. Even silence has a texture that the bassline keeps for real. I don't leave space for nothing. Every breath is part of sound. When I speak, it keeps on moving, like it never hits the ground. No empty in between us. Every second has a tone. Even stillness is a rhythm. that I carry in my bones. We stay inside the motion, no beginning, no delay. Every word becomes the surface that the bass is riding on today. And my voice keeps holding timing, like it's stitched into the air. Nothing stops, it only shifts, but it's always there. You respond without a silence, like you're always in the line. Every moment that I mention stays connected every time. No space for disappearing, everything is kept alive. Even pauses turn into movement when I keep the sound inside. It's not quiet, it is constant, just a softer kind of loud. Every gap is only covered by the rhythm in the crowd. We stay inside the motion, never dropping, never gone. Every phrase is still continuing, even when the word is long. And my voice keeps on arranging all the space you thought was free. Nothing ends, it only blends in with the beat beneath the sea. If it feels like something missing, I just feel it as it falls. Let the bass and voice together hold it all. Still moving, still here. No break, no disappear. Just slow, just near. And the sound stays clear. Bass in the room, it speaks first. Low end pulling at my chest. Everything begins with pressure. Nothing here can take a rest. You step in, I feel the bass shift, like it knows you're in the frame. Every move is built on low sound, even silence gets a name. My voice rides on the bottom, where the frequency is deep. Every word is just a layer on the pulse I have to keep. No top line without the bottom. Everything is rooted down, even feelings start to follow what the bass is putting down. We move inside the bassline, like it owns the way we go. Every step is synchronized with the low and undertow. And my voice becomes the texture, riding underneath the tone. Nothing floats above the pressure. We are built from undertone. You respond in lower timing, like you feel it in your skin. Every phrase I put on top of it gets absorbed and pulled back in. Bass is never disappearing, it is always in control. Even when we try to quiet, it is holding every soul. There is no way to escape it. It is steady, it is true. Everything is underneath it, even me and even you. We move inside the baseline, no beginning, no release.
ground. Nothing ever leaves the low end, it just circles around. If the night feels like it's fading, I just let the bass stay loud. It will carry every silence through the crowd. Still moving, still low, nowhere left for it to go. Just don't, just float, and it holds us slow. Bass is breathing in the darkness, slow and steady under sound. Guitar draws the shape of nothing, where your presence once was found. Air is heavy, almost frozen, but it never stops to move. Every second feels like distance that I slowly sink into. No drums, only low remembering, stretching out across the floor, like the echo of a moment that keeps knocking at the door. Silence bends but never breaks here, it just settles into place. And I feel you in the structure of this empty, quiet space. You were close enough to touch me, now you're further than before. But the room still holds your outline like a stain it won't ignore. I don't fight the way it lingers, I don't ask it to let go. Even absence has a language, only quieter than low. I move slow inside the hollow that you left without a name. Every breath is slightly heavier, but it doesn't feel like pain. And your voice is barely anything, still it travels through my skin. I don't try to bring you closer, I just let you live within. Bass is falling even deeper, guitar barely stays in frame. Everything becomes a memory without needing to be named. Space is doing all the talking in a language made of air, and I'm sitting in the after of you being almost there. I don't need to see a shadow to remember how you move. Even silence starts to copy what you used to do. If the night erases outlines, I will still be holding on to the way you felt like gravity long after you